What's going on, everybody? BobbyFi with my man Eric Sheets-Haber doing a quick showdown video for tonight's slate between Baltimore and Miami. Sheets, before we get started, who do you like in this game? I have a feeling.
Lock.
You think Miami?
Lock City.
Miami
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say that.
Yeah.
It does feel like a lot of points, doesn't it? I don't know.
I don't even know who's quarterback.
I know. We're assuming Tua is, I guess.
No idea.
Yeah. Okay. So, as always, guys, it comes with a disclaimer. Like early in the day, it is really, really hard to know in the NFL, especially when we don't know who the quarterback is.
Yeah, but I'm good. I'm good because whoever is quarterback, I think I'm going to go do the exact same thing. I'm not just distinguishing between the two of them for some reason. The other thing I will say is that I'm not playing them, but you realize who's going to get like 1% ownership tonight.
Le'Veon?
No, Jake Dolegala.
Why? What's?
Because he's a backup quarterback and it never loses.
Oh God, I'm not ever.
Oh, I'm not playing a share. I'm just telling you that he will get probably a 0.5% ownership.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. Okay, I didn't expect that to be the first thing we talked about.
Well, dude, it's a showdown. It's like four eligible players. I mean, we can talk about guys that aren't even on the team. Whatever.
I know, it's really weird. All right, so let's get into it then. So
all right. So I'm gonna tell you what I'm doing.
Okay.
You're right to it. Right? So the first thing I like to do is I like to find the guys that are under 2K that I want to play. Right. I was so close to being famous last week because I had nothing, and like midway through our freaking live show, I turned myself on to Jimmy Graham. Remember that?
Yeah.
And I just kept on pounding it. Dude, he had 3 red zone targets. Like, he could have got like 20 freaking fantasy points.
I know, man. I heard about that. It was a great call. I didn't play that night, as you know, but like that was a great call.
Yeah. So anyway, first of all, Lamar Jackson is a good play. He's good at football. He carries the whole offense. So I'm going to attempt to get Lamar Jackson into my lineups. Well, that's very nice, Eric. How are you going to do that? So the two guys that right now that I have highlighted as what makes it all work for me are both on Miami. One is Salvon Ahmed, and the other one is Adam Shaheen. Like, those are the two guys that could get zeros that are going to be, I'm probably going to have one of those in each of my lineups, maybe two.
I don't think there's any way Salvon Ahmed's getting a 0.
Okay, I'm just, it's possible. I mean, I'm just saying.
You get a 0.5 or something.
Yeah. Okay. Whatever.
I'm just kidding.
So those are the two guys that I'm going to be using to make it work for me. And based on that, and then we could actually start talking about the plays, right? So like for me, I could just go through. So Miami, I mean, just Gesicki, really, really good receiver. He's a key piece. You got Waddle, he's a key piece. And then all those other showdown guys I didn't even look at yet, like the Smooths and the Smeets and the Albert Wilsons or whatever. But the main pieces are Gesicki and Waddle. And then on the Baltimore side, it's the same story. I mean, it's Lamar, and if you need to or want to, I think you have to start with probably Andrews and maybe Marquise Brown or something like that, and then have the normal discussion about the running backs. So that's my quick overview of the whole game. So you want to go back into the individual teams, or you want to give me an overview, or what do you think?
Yeah, I like what you're talking about here. One guy who I really do like though today, I mean, I like Justin Tucker a lot. I don't think it's going to be particularly earth-shattering. It's funny because you get the Miami kicker because they've stalled out on drives, who actually is cheaper and projecting better. But I mean, Baltimore, it's really weird because they go for it a lot of fourth downs, but they also kick a lot of field goals. And Justin Tucker, just in general, obviously one of the better kickers, can in a game like this should be, these guys played Sunday, so they had no time in between. So I'm looking for backup running backs. I'm looking for some kickers and some drives stalling out. Usually I would look at defenses as well. I think you can argue for the defenses, but they're a little bit like, I'd rather them, the Dolphins price is a little more tempting. The Ravens price is a little bit higher than maybe you'd want to pay for a defense. think maybe I'd rather have the kicker at that point. It's close though. And then I think Rashad Bateman, if Watkins is in fact back, which we still don't know about, I think he'll have lower ownership and we could probably do something there. If Watkins is in, if Watkins is out, Bateman will be popular still. Obviously Marquise Brown has been good lately. I just want to point out that Baltimore's projected to score 27 points on a pretty good Miami defense, even as bad as Miami's played this season. I think their defense is a little bit underrated. And then I'm interested in, we're really calling Le'Veon Bell the backup running back now, huh? And it feels weird to have him as the backup running back in Baltimore. But I'm open. I mean, look, he had 11 carries. He had the touchdown last week. They played him during the comeback portion. There's an argument to be made. He has 2 touchdowns in the last 3 games, and he's 5,400. But I think Devontae Freeman's the more natural play. But I'd like to look at the backup running backs. You mentioned Salvon Ahmed already, who I would probably prioritize. The Miami receivers is where things are really interesting because you don't have anybody that stands out. Even like Mac Hollins, like I don't know that I don't think I want to do that. I do think one of these other guys has a chance of potentially getting in. They're just shorthanded with their other receivers, and they're not going to just play 2 the whole game. So I'm trying to figure out what to do with that situation. I do really, just to sort of go through my favorite plays. I don't think that there's a route in any world that I'll fade Lamar in any format. I don't think he has to be your captain, but I do think you have to play him. Andrews and Gesicki would be my favorite of the, other of the receivers, and they're both the tight ends. And then you got do we play Hollywood Brown? Do we play Jalen Waddle? In terms of receivers, in terms of production, I think Brown and Waddle are close enough where you can argue that I think Waddle will project as a much better point per dollar play. And that's probably the route I would go. And then I would drop down to a Bateman or just leave it with Brown and with Lamar and Andrews. That's just some food for thought there. And the guys who I would be looking at to potentially captain in this kind of a game would be Andrews, Gesicki, Lamar, obviously. And then I think there's an argument to be made for Jalen Waddle. I really do. Or Rashad Bateman if there's no Watkins. Now, Rashad Bateman will still have ownership if Watkins doesn't play, but he won't be captained if Watkins does play. He won't be captained even if Watkins doesn't play. So I think Bateman is the one I want to sort of glue myself to a little bit of the other receivers from the passing game. But I want to get their backup running back. So I have Ahmed as a priority, and I don't think it's going to be anything earth-shattering. I think he's going to actually be really popular.
Yeah.
But I think that Le'Veon Bell will be overlooked, and I'm willing to it's a short week, who knows? Maybe you could make an argument because of the short week and because he got some run last week, maybe Tyson Williams comes back into our lives a little bit at 1.2K. Maybe we could do that. Otherwise, if we really think Bell is going to be, maybe limited a little bit because he's old and it's only been, they played 4 days ago. Maybe we could just go to Devontae Freeman as a potential captain. So my priorities are Andrews, Gesicki, Bateman, Ahmed, Lamar, Freeman, and then comes Tucker in both defenses. How about you?
Yeah, first of all, again, just to reiterate, whether it's Tua or Brissett, it makes no difference to me. I'll probably try to use them. My priorities, look. Now, first of all, we neglected, the top running back for Miami, of course, being Gaskin. You'd like to think that, if you game scripted this, that they are an 8-point underdog or whatever, and you usually don't like to play the running backs, but he can catch some balls too. I think that Gesicki and Waddle are clearly the 2 receiving options, though, for Miami. And look, you could start a lineup with Tua and those 2, and you could have Lamar in that lineup if you go dumpster diving to the guys that I talked about earlier. you can make all that work. I really like, by the way, your idea of Le'Veon Bell. I didn't even think of that because, like you said, there are going to be people that play like the backup running backs, and if they do, they're going to be playing Ahmed, right? I don't know if people are going to go to Le'Veon, and I think
especially at that, they're not going to at that price. Like they made him a regular player's price.
Yeah,
With a touchdown up equity and with maybe one touchdown being all you get on the ground outside of Lamar, it just makes a little bit of sense. But I mean, again, it's still probably a little bit of a reach, but you have to reach out slates, right?
Yeah. And then this Delbot Smoot or whatever his name is, the Durham Smythe. He's another one that's just kind of he's between Smythe and the Shaheen and all these guys have possibilities because I think Miami they do like to complete a lot of balls that are not really like good ones. You know what I mean? Like I don't think they throw a lot of big bombs. From what I remember, like Tua was like a 22 for 28 for 240 guy, I think. And you get these cheapos that can get like 3 catches somehow. I think that's all you need out of these guys. You take your Lamar points, and then you kind of scratch and claw, and I think you do use the quarterback for Miami. And I think one cool way to play is to just play Lamar from Baltimore, and then just kind of like screw around with a whole bunch of little Miami guys to kind of chirp away. That might not be enough though. You might need to get the rest of the Baltimore offense. Maybe Lamar and how about Lamar and Tucker.
I could see 4-2 for Miami being a stack sense. It's play Lamar and even if you play Lamar with a chalky receiver, but
how about Lamar and Bateman?
Yeah, I like Lamar and Bateman, but I think that's going to be pretty popular actually.
Oh, okay.
If we have if Watkins is back, it might be the lower end of the two of those that I would end up siding with.
Well, Lamar and Andrews will probably be the most chalky, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. Anyway, sorry, I'm just loading our other video.
Right. So let's this is what people are going to do. Okay, so they're going to put Lamar in the captain. Let's say they want to put Andrews in the flex. Let's say they put a Miami guy.
Show your screen, man. Show your screen. We haven't been.
Okay. So they're going to put Lamar in the captain. They'll put Andrews over here. They're going to take one of the Miami quarterbacks, whoever's playing. So let's put 2 in there. And then they're going to play, probably if they play this way, they probably get to play Ahmed. And this is and people, they can make this work. And they can play kickers. You know what I mean? So I think that, like you said, even if people wanted to play Bateman alongside of this, right? They could still even do that.
Right.
And you know what you get now? Now you get like the Miami kicker, or something like that.
Right.
So this Ahmed thing is going to make a lot of things go. So don't be surprised if he becomes pretty damn popular.
Yeah, and let's just, I guess, last thing, maybe find some pivots off of directly of Ahmed.
Yeah.
Because I do think that he sort of looks like a complete standout with his point per dollar. But I mean, look, you could take a weird shot on a Preston Williams.
Sure.
Just getting, any work or whatever. He's 200. Nick Boyle, you're sort of just playing for potential touchdown upside. I prefer the Preston Williams idea. Shaheen for Miami would be a pivot off of Ahmed.
How about our old friend?
Who?
How about Josh Oliver?
Josh Oliver?
He had zero action last week. Okay, literally 0 targets.
Mm-hmm.
But every other game he played, I would take in this spot.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know why he didn't play. Did someone come back from Baltimore or something? Did the tight end come back and rendered him useless? I'd have to look into that.
I don't know when Boyle came back.
That could be it, though.
For sure, yeah. But that doesn't necessarily render him useless. It sort of depends a little bit on game flow, or if they decide.
But he didn't play in 8 either.
That one play for him. Yeah, I mean, I hear you with what you're saying with Oliver. But yeah, I think that Shaheen. These Miami receivers feel so thin, but either Isaiah Ford or Preston Williams, I guess. It's hard to find.
This is Boyle's first game, actually.
So this is Boyle. So that's why Oliver's dropped down. Well, that doesn't mean we
Well,
can't.
No. Oliver didn't play last week. You know, he didn't get no targets last week.
It doesn't matter though. You're saying it's the first game Boyle's playing.
Right. So that's why
Oliver would have had a good projection here. Or
okay.
What about Durham Smythe?
That's why I mentioned him earlier.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, again, he's another Shaheen guy, you know, like.
Yeah. So there's a lot to do. We will try to talk about this when we do the show at 6 Eastern. You know, who knows? I have to record with Rhodey, so maybe we can always get him on after, but I'm not sure 100% sure because he's got his work and his kids. So I like to give the guy a little bit of time. But this is definitely one of those kind of games that, I mean, my initial take is that I kind of like the under in this game. That's another thing. And yeah, I mean, I sort of, my natural instinct was to agree with you that Miami would be able to hang in this one at home. Even though I'm a big fan of Baltimore, and I think Lamar has got a great shot at being the MVP, even though people don't talk about his name very much. He's, in a weird way, he's like the most underrated player in football. Like, I swear, I know he won the MVP before, but it's like, I still feel like he gets no credit and no love. He's come back. He has the most double-digit comebacks of anybody. That's the only thing anybody ever criticizes about him. But I mean,
who is the MVP?
Right now, it'd probably be, I think Brady's the favorite. After that, it's a bunch of guys. There's a bunch of guys. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, weirdly enough.
What about Matthew Stafford?
Less so. Probably, you know, if he did anything, he might have given Cooper Kupp a good argument for MVP.
Right.
Derrick Henry would have been probably the favorite coming along with Brady. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy how the NFL odds change week by week. I mean, the Bengals, who were 12-1 win the Super Bowl 2 weeks ago, now are 50-1. The Chiefs, who were 40-1 2 weeks ago and have played poorly since then, but they won. Now they're 12-1 from 40-1, like, because of everything being bunched up. It's just so all over the map. Like, this season feels really, really wild. The only teams you feel like you can really trust are Tampa Bay to an extent, and I guess that's kind of like it. And I guess
you got Buffalo losing to Jacksonville like it's their job.
Tennessee and Arizona have deserved where they are. Yeah, Buffalo. Yeah, Buffalo. I mean, that's the weirdest one.
Josh Allen MVP. No thanks.
Yeah. No, you still got a great shot, but I mean,
I know, but I can't give it to him losing to Jacksonville.
Yeah, no, seriously, they lose to Jacksonville 9-6 or whatever.
9-6, fumbling, throwing interceptions in the red zone. I mean, like, it's a horror show.
That Miami defense, which it goes against what we were saying earlier. You can't play the defenses that can't get you anything. Jacksonville's defense was minimum cost, and just they were awesome.
Jacksonville is back.
Yeah. But anyway, we'll be with you hopefully, for more clarity on the slate later. It's always hard in the mornings, but we hopefully gives. Oh, where you just brought up Duvernay, who is a guy who I'm interested in actually as well.
Okay.
He's got an interesting. Well, he has opportunities, first of all, always on the punt return, the special team side of things. But he did, have that touchdown catch last week. They will look for him in certain spots, but usually it tends to be more when they're trailing. But he does consistently produce a little bit. So I actually think Duvernay is a good guy I like on these kind of slates. So I totally just forgot to mention him because we're used to seeing him around like 1K and he was 3.4, so it just didn't pop up for me. But I think there's an argument to be made for Duvernay here, and I don't think he's going to get a ton of ownership.
Hey, do you get double points? In other words, if you play Duvernay and he runs kick, if you play Duvernay and the Buffalo defense, and he runs it back, you get double?
Yeah, we used to coordinate this all the time with the Cordarrelle Patterson when he was with the Bears, and then with Darren Sproles with the Eagles. Yeah, because they would always Darren Sproles ran like 5 back one year, between punts and kickoffs, and you get 30% of the games you're going to score a touchdown. That means your defense is scoring a touchdown too. So those are correlation things. So if you do play Duvernay and you wanted to go defense, I think that's actually kind of an interesting route. Just hope for that one run back.
Right.
All right, guys. Well, good luck to everybody out there. We will see you guys at 6 Eastern. Sheets, anything else before we get out of here?
No, we're good.
All right. See you guys soon.